Hey everyone, it's Raheel. It's Friday, so you know what time it is. Time to recap the news from the week. From the future of gas prices to potentially rebuilding an entire high school, political contributor and Pulitzer Prize finalist Evan Mintz joins me and CityCast culture contributor Antre'chelle Dorsey to break down the stories that impacted you. It's Friday, April 7th. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston is talking about today. Evan Mintz, Antre'chelle, thank you so much for joining me. It is a beautiful Friday in the city of Houston, just filled with rain, thunder, hail, everything. Every time we get just a little taste of good weather, Mother Nature says, no, not yet. Not yet, Houston. Antre'chelle, welcome in. First time with you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Welcome to CityCast Houston.
Thank you so much. I'm doing all right. Evan, 3 weeks in a row. You doing all right?
I'm doing great. I got to say, my garden loves this weather. We needed the rain.
Yes. Anytime we can get free water on the garden, it's good, right? That's what we want. I don't want to waste the water. All right. Ladies first. Antre'chelle, what was your biggest story of the week?
So, the biggest story of the week has a bit of a childhood attachment for me. I'm not sure if anybody knows. If you are a Houston native, you know that you have several field trips that you go to in elementary school, and the Battleship, Texas is one of them. Now, it's not one of our favorites, but it's definitely a landmark, and I am so sad to report that the Battleship, Texas is leaving in August, and the tours of the historic ship will be ending soon. And that really hit me in the gut.
The big thing on that is the dry dock tours are ending for right now, right? Because Battleship, Texas is going under all sorts of repairs. It's so old that it has to get, you make sure everything is good. And hopefully once that repair is done, and it's still a lengthy process, they'll open up the tours again and have the overnight camps there that everyone loves.
Good, because it's old. It was old when I was a little girl, so it's even older now. I am glad my child did get a chance to go in there and see it, but baby, that's an old ship.
It is old.
It is.
It served in World War I and World War II.
Yeah.
Most ships that you're going to see around today, they were from just World War II. So it's fascinating to have a real piece of history right there on the edge of Houston. But I've been frustrated with the area around there, the Battleship, Texas, and the San Jacinto Monument, because it has been in a state of disrepair for a long time. I tried to take my daughter out there, maybe go to the top of the San Jacinto Monument. The elevator is broken. You can't get down there. I feel like that if Texas has a budget surplus this year, maybe we should spend $1 million or $2 million just making the area around there nice. We got a lot of people in the state who say they love our state and love history and love our legacy. So why don't we make it at least look nice rather than just spread a lot of pretty words and angry rhetoric about it.
Ooh, I like that.
And also improve the ferry service over there, like make it a little bit faster, maybe have a couple more boats running so it can become a destination where Houstonians want to go and take their kids and educate everyone about the history of not only our city, but our state. All right, Evan, let's go to you. What is your biggest story of the week?
The biggest story of the week is that OPEC is cutting oil production, which means we're rich again. Oil prices are up. Houston can make money again. We're going to be getting $400 fajitas. People are going to be buying cars they can't afford. It's going to be incredible. I love it. Good news for Houston. Now, what this really means is that a lot of the shale production in Texas, the tight oil, really only makes financial sense when oil prices are high. It's expensive to do that type of work. And the longer we go, the cheaper, easier plays get all dried up, and we got to go on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And we got to put in more innovation, more technology, more work to get it out. It's more overhead. And so when oil prices are around 60, 70, that stuff doesn't make financial sense. But when we're at 100, then the money starts rolling in. So, it's bad news if you've got a car that uses a lot of gas. It's bad news if you can't afford to fill up at the pump. I understand. But as a Houstonian, I'm quite glad to see that our oil companies are going to have some work to do.
So bottom line, good for the city, bad for consumers who have big, heavy cars that use up a lot of gas, because gas prices are going to be going up because of this, Evan?
Oh, absolutely. But I've got to say, for me, with my little 10-year-old Honda Civic, I don't care.
But do you really care about oil prices? Because you're never going to not get gas. Gas prices raising, I get it. It's going to cost, but you need gas, baby. Just pull up, fill up, and go on about your business.
Yeah, but a lot of dudes in Cyprus who have those huge monster trucks driving to their 9-to-5 corporate jobs, they're going to feel it. That's about that. But you and me, Evan, hey, my little Prius, I've never felt gas prices impact me. Does it suck that now I'm paying $30 a tank as opposed to or $20 I like paying with the Prius? Yeah, kind of. But it does impact a lot of Houstonians.
Mm-hmm. No, it's gonna feel a little more pain at the pump. But I think we've got to realize there's a reason why Houston is here. It's not for, the beauty and the rolling hills. It is because this is where all of the oil and gas companies are.
I did see a story that AAA Texas said that our demand already is at summer highs and we're only in April. So demand, price, it's gonna be a rough summer, it looks like.
That's not good.
Wow.
Yep.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. Keep buying that gasoline. Keep buying those petroleum products. Like the moment when demand goes down, that is when I freak out.
That's big. My biggest story of the week, and this is more an alley-oop for you, Evan. The Chronicle reporting that Houston did approve the creation of conservation districts. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. In a 13-4 vote, the Houston City Council voted to start the process of Independence Heights, Freedmanstown, Acres Home, Piney Point, Pleasantville, and Magnolia Park. But those areas will now vote, and the citizens will have a say in this. I'm just going to leave it to you. I know you're passionate about this. What did you think about that?
I just think it's bad news for Houston. The thing that we've really got going for ourselves is that this is a place where it's easy to build housing, where housing is cheap. And when you put up barriers to construction, it makes it more expensive. And when you have expensive housing, the only people who can afford it are those with money. And that accelerates gentrification. It doesn't slow it down. I mean, I understand that there's going to be a lot more steps for these neighborhoods to jump through before they actually get these restrictions in place. And so I tell people to please think critically about what this means. That if suddenly your neighborhood, people aren't able to build new homes, if someone comes in with a lot of money, they're going to say, well, I want to buy up the ones that already exist.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. This is why I gave you the alley-oop. All right, Antre'chelle.
Thank you.
What is your most overlooked story of the week?
And I'm going to be honest with you, this story is overlooked because there are 10,000 other things that we could be talking about, but I think we definitely do need to have a conversation about this. The unofficial Houston, Texas landmark over Interstate 45, the Be Someone, right? It makes us all feel so good. Someone has already painted over it, and now they're facing felony charges. And it's just really sad because that was a beautiful landmark, right? Why would we mess this up? Someone has covered it over with no war, no peace. And that's a nice statement. I get it. But Be Someone, it was a staple. It was there. We had started putting it in our graphics. And I feel like that's really looked over because I think people are not realizing how you just got to leave people's stuff alone. Just leave people's stuff alone. It'll be all right.
So felony charges on painting over graffiti.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
That's
graffiti, the felony charges are probably reflective of the amount of cost that it would take, the damage inflicted. And I've got to say, at a time when the district attorney's office is saying that it doesn't have the resources it needs, that we have this massive backlog of violent crimes, of murder cases, why are we going after this? Like, what is the point on this? I think the beauty of the Be Someone Bridge was that it was organic and that someone painted up there, not under order from the city, not with a grant from some sort of arts fund. They just decided to do it. And other people would go up there and paint over it, and then it would come back later. Let it grow and die. Let it thrive. Let it be a living thing rather than just saying it has to be stuck like this. I'm going to tie this back into the conservation districts. Houston is great because we are a place that is organic, that isn't stuck, it isn't cold, that we're always growing. And let's just let Houston be Houston. Let's be someone.
Come on, Evan. You was preaching.
There is a charm about that organically. Look at that. But I'm going to organically bring it in that I think the Be Someone slogan and the Houston sign is kind of dumb. I think we can do better. I know we're rallying around this and it's become our unofficial motto here, but when you really think about it, like, be someone, come on, we can do better. We're Houston.
Wait a minute. I can't get with that. Well, you could be whoever you want to be. It wasn't saying be Texan, be country. It's saying be someone. And whoever that person is, be that. Oh, I'm mad at you.
Come on.
During the 70s, 80s oil boom, there's this saying, you could take a gorilla, put him in a suit, drop him in downtown Houston, and a week later he'd be a millionaire. Ooh. And that's what I feel about this, that Houston is a place where anyone can be someone.
Right.
Okay.
You can find your bearings here. And it's not saying you have to be a certain thing. It could be anybody. If we're big enough for you to grow. Ooh,
just be someone. Come on.
Someone.
It just is so bland to me. Be someone.
No.
Like, I need something else. I just need more.
I kind of feel like New York's got I love New York because it's a place about the city. Houston is a city about the people.
Come on, Evan. Evan, you preaching. Why do I pay my tithes to Evan Missionary Baptist Church?
Okay,
Evan, what was your most overlooked story other than me saying be someone is not that sexy?
No, that's going to be it. I think that the overlooked story, it wasn't really overlooked, but I think deserves a lot more attention than it got, was the fact that the state controller dropped his allegations that Harris County had defunded the police. If you remember, before the 2022 election, there's this whole accusation towards the city, to their county, that they had cut the budget for Constable Precinct 5, and the controller came down and said, oh, there's a new state law that says you can't cut law enforcement budgets, and you're going to be punished for this, and you have to change the budgets and this and that. And then when you actually look at state law, it turns out that, well, if you cut the overall budget, as long as the percentages don't drop, it's okay. And then that's what happened. And so I would remind everyone that anytime you see political opponents bringing up big, scary allegations right before an election, take it with a grain of salt. That's part of the game that people play, and all sides play it. And I'm not going to say don't play the game unless the rules are changed. A unilateral disarmament is a fool's game. But when you look at these attacks that come from Austin towards Houston, towards Harris County, towards any of the big cities, towards any of the major school districts, trust but verify what they are saying.
One of the big things about political season, as you mentioned, there's going to be a lot of statements said, and there's going to be things that are true, things that are false, and it's left up to the constituent to look it up and research it and make sure it's true or it's not. But when you have a situation like this where it's clearly not true, there has to be some kind of penalty in place. And it's frustrating that there's not. And you see it not only locally, on the state level, of course, on the national level. It's out of control from everyone, it seems like. But there needs to be a penalty. There needs to be some consequences for just throwing stuff out and it's found not to be true. I think that hurts the public.
I mean, I'll be blunt. The Republicans in Austin have basically declared war on the major cities of Texas. And it's frustrating because those cities are the economic engines of our state. The cities are the reason why we thrive, why we're growing. These cities are good. And just because they don't always vote Republican, suddenly they become an enemy. And that's unfortunate. And you see these elected officials up in Austin throw everything they've got at the cities to hurt them, to undermine them. And in the end, it may feel like a political win, but we all lose. And so you ask, where is the punishment for this? Like, where's the referee to come down and blow the whistle? That's the voters. And you've got to come down and say, we don't want to put up with this anymore.
We'll move to my most overlooked story. And I've got to represent the suburbs out here, Richmond, Rosenberg, Fort Bend ISD. That's the school system that we use. Well, Fort Bend ISD has proposed a $1.26 billion bond that will increase our tax bill here in Fort Bend by about $2.50 for a $300,000 house, but in Fort Bend, houses are a lot more expensive. Well, these funds will now be used to rebuild Clemens High School. That's a high school I went to, and I recently spoke there as well to the freshman class. Okay. They're literally going to rebuild the high school because the school is so old. It has so many foundation issues. It is falling apart. Well, the problem is last year, voters said no to a voter-approved tax rate increase. And I have a feeling this bond is also going to fail, and Fort Bend ISD is going to be facing a lot of issues. They're already facing a $47 million deficit, and they've tried to cut back on some things, but you just can't make that much money up. Teachers are not getting raises like most places, it seems like. And there's going to be a big issue here in the upcoming years for Fort Bend, not only because they can't rebuild a big high school, you can't upkeep other schools. And so many people are moving to Fort Bend just around my neighborhood. They're building a whole new neighborhood, and the high school there, Travis High School, is already filled to the gills. So there's no room. They can't afford to build a new high school. This is going to be a disaster if this bond doesn't pass.
No, it is a real shame that we're not seeing Austin care about the quality of our school districts. We need the money. It used to be the majority of funding for local school districts came from the state. Now it's flipped. I know that majority of the funding for Fort Bend ISD comes from local property taxes. But what we're seeing Austin do right now is that they're trying to siphon away that money into vouchers with no accountability, no strings attached to anyone who calls themselves not just a school, but just school services. Someone who provides tutoring services can get this money. And it's absurd. The foundation of a healthy society is good education. And Fort Bend is a great place. And we need to make sure that the schools remain great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And so many families move out here because of the school system. And if the school system is facing a deficit and continues to, Fort Bend ISD is going to be facing a lot of troubles and a lot of tough decisions in the upcoming years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go to something happy, please, because now I'm all riled up because Fort Bend ISD has given me so much.
That.
Yeah. I mean, it's where I went to school. It's where my family and my siblings and my daughter goes there right now. My second daughter hopefully will go through the Fort Bend ISD schools. But, there's a lot of tough decisions to be made here. Moment of joy. Antre'chelle, come on, give me something to get me happy, to end this on a high note.
Well, I think I'm about to make you very, very happy. Now, let me just say this. Roughly about 9% of Texas students that are identified as gifted and talented, right? And I need to make an announcement today that my son, my only begotten son, Axum Nova, 4 years old, is gifted and talented and has been accepted into 9 HISD gifted and talented programs. That's giving me joy. Amen. That's
Yay,
it.
look at
Everybody
that.
clap.
Congratulations.
Everybody clap. My child, right? And I only...
That is beautiful.
Right. At 4, it's one thing to know as a parent, you guys are parents, as a parent, it's one thing to know and see your child doing great things. It is not that you need validation from anyone else, but then when the world sees their greatness, it is an humbling feeling to know that your child is considered among the greats. Now, we already knew, but just the fact to have that on paper just made it so much more. So he will be entering into kindergarten, gifted and talented, right off the bat. Now his father and I have to just decide, now which school is he going to go to? So.
I was going to say, is it going to be like a really highly touted college football recruit where you have 9 caps and you're going to have to pick somebody? You're going to have an announcement?
We thought about that, but it was like, this is kindergarten, okay? Like
it's kindergarten.
It's kindergarten. Let's just see. Now, I don't know what they do in gifted and talented kindergarten because all I knew about is coloring and crayons, right? But I'm excited to see where this goes.
Congratulations. That is so cool to hear.
You.
That is uplifting news. Evan, how about you? What is your moment of joy?
Well, my moment of joy is that it's Passover, the Jewish holiday celebrating the Exodus. And it's my favorite holiday because it's one grounded in a celebration of liberation and the breaking of chains. And it's not just about gift giving. It is not just about joy, but it's about something bigger and noble. And that's something that always makes me smile. Mm-hmm. Also, I am a sucker for horseradish. Like the stronger, the better. Bring it on.
I love it. All right. My moment of joy quickly. This weekend, I finally get to meet my new nephew. So my youngest sister had her first baby, and they are finally coming to town 3 months later because now they can travel with little baby Rami. So I'm excited to meet him, and he gets to meet my daughter, who is 6 months old. So these two cousins are going to be, joint at the hip forever now, and they're going to be brother and sister. So finally get to meet him, and I can't wait to see not only my nephew, but also my sister and my brother-in-law.
That's dope. I love that.
That's so sweet.
I can't wait. All right, that will do it. Thank you so much, Antre'chelle. That was a lot of fun. Evan, same. Always fun talking and recapping this packed week of news. Have a great Friday, and thank y'all again.
All right.
Talk to y'all later.
That was political contributor Evan Mintz, culture contributor Antre'chelle Dorsey, and me, Raheel Ramzanali. That's all for today here on CityCast Houston. Our lead producer is Dina Kespa. Our producer is Carleon Jones. And our newsletter editor for Hey Houston is Brooke Lewis. And the host is me, Raheel Ramzanali. Our music is by the band All the Kimonos. And we will be back on Monday with a look at how inflation is impacting our city. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new. Antre'chelle, any thoughts?
I ain't got none. That's just a lot. That's above my intelligence. Because y'all speaking deep. I'm like, I'm over here in rainbows and unicorns.